this is our lecturer, and we'd like to ask her a few questions around the peer assessment engagement.
And the first question we've got is, where does the inspiration for peer assessment come from?
Well, there are several threads to this answer, to be honest, because obviously I do want my students to achieve a lot and to gain deeper knowledge in research methods, which I find quite a hard subject to teach, particularly because there's so many different terms, terminology that students have to learn. And secondly, is probably because of my background in psychology, and particularly I am keen on applying Vygotskian approach and Piagettian approach to active learning, where students learn better perhaps, not just reading books or listening to the lectures, but actually engaging in dialogue. And that's what peer assessment and peer feedback is for me, an opportunity to engage in a dialogue and learn from each other.
So you mentioned there's some benefits. Is there anything that you feel that doesn't work when using this method of learning?
I think this is a really good question, because on one hand people can say, oh, how great students are engaging, but actually I find that not everybody is as easy at engaging with peer assessment. Some find that it's quite an anxious activity. I've noted that students are doing really well in class. They bring their tests and they're eager to give them to their peer, and they do complete the test. However, when I ask to upload them on Blackboard to share their tests with the rest of the group online, that seems to create a barrier, and we've got much less representation there.
Do you find that students are benefiting from peer assessment at all?
Well, that's what students are telling me at the moment. They say that they're engaging with the material, that they revise the lecture slides and read the books, and therefore it creates a learning inquiry for them, that task to create a test. And also when they do the test themselves, very often they say that they've done really well, and therefore it eases their anxiety.
If we put aside what you're teaching us in our module, what is your overall opinion on peer assessment?
Well, I think it's a phenomenon. Peer assessment is a phenomenon because very often authors talk about whether it is actually valid, whether students give similar marks as the teachers do, and that students participate in creating some assessment criteria, but not the overall assessment task. What for me is important here, that students take ownership of assessment on its own, that they create their own assessment, and therefore they are responsible for the assessment criteria. So I can't then say that your criteria are not valid because you created the assessment test yourself. You know the right answers, and I probably don't. So for me, peer assessment is really an opportunity to give students ownership and responsibility for their learning.